don't want to start. There we go. So thank you everybody for being here. My name's Lisa Siegel. I'm the National President of A Squared E Squared. I'm so happy to be hosting you here this evening. And we're so lucky to have this professional learning circle happening with Robyn Fox and Cerae Mitchell, Nature Journaling for Nature Connection and Mindfulness, just to make sure you're all in the right place. I want to start by acknowledging country and the traditional owners of country throughout this whole of Australia. I'm here on Gumbaynggirr country on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. And I want to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, not only here in Gumbaynggirr country, but in all the countries that you are coming from as well. We acknowledge that this land was never ceded, and we also acknowledge the ongoing environmental education that has been passed down for literally tens of thousands of years. That with stories and caretaking practices that help us understand the balance of life and the interconnectedness of everything. So if you'd like to share with us in the chat what country you're coming from and acknowledge your country in your own way, we like to start with that, but just by knowing, because we're from all over Australia. So you're welcome to pop that in the chat. You are also obviously welcome to pop questions and comments in the chat as we go through. I will be mediating the chat box for Robyn and Cerae, and I'm sure that at certain points in Robyn and Cerae's workshop, it's very interactive. They'll be happy for you to ask questions and all that kind of stuff. we also do another kind of acknowledgement at the beginning of our learning circles and all of our meetings, where we want to stop and take a moment to acknowledge the context in which we gather in this time on this planet, when humans seem to be, or not seem to be, we are having this massive impact in all sorts of ways. And we just want to remind ourselves that all of our discussions and our learnings here, and any actions that we take, have consequences for not only humans, but the other than humans, now and into the future. And it's just important to acknowledge that as we gather together as educators, to think about those future generations, which I know that you all do every day in your roles as educators and humans on this earth. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and let Robyn and Cerae share their screen, and I'm going to introduce them. I want to introduce them. Robyn and Cerae did ask that hopefully you all saw the email that asked you to bring some tools and materials with you. So if you haven't done that, pen, paper, some objects from nature, if you can get that organized, that's great. But I just want to honor and introduce Cerae and Robyn, our A Squared E Squared presenters today. So Cerae is a mother of two young girls, amazing young girls, an environmental educator, a forest therapy guide, and a secondary art teacher with a passion for fostering meaningful connections with nature. She founded Drop Into Nature to offer guided experiences that encourage people to slow down, deepen their connection with the natural world, and cultivate mindfulness through nature journaling and forest therapy. And Robyn is a lecturer in outdoor environmental education at the University of Sunshine Coast, Australia, a grandma to four beautiful grandkids. And her research examines the impacts and opportunities of climate change on outdoor environmental education, as well as the role of field naturalist journals in fostering ecological literacy in outdoor environmental studies. And I know also that Robyn is an active member of our Queensland chapter and often comes along to our chapter chats and represents the Queensland chapter. So I'm just really pleased that you're both here to give us your time and your expertise and your passion. And I will hand over to you, and I will mute myself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to Cerae and my little talk or hour on nature journaling as a tool for connection and mindfulness to nature. And thank you, Lisa, for that wonderful introduction regarding A squared, E squared. And we'd like to conduct our own acknowledgement of country, and we'd like to just give a shout out to a colleague of ours, Ola Quinowski, who illustrated this beautiful picture for the acknowledgement of country. But we would like to recognise the traditional custodians of the land upon which we meet and recognise their enduring spiritual and cultural connection to land, water, skies, and to the more than human world. Cerae and I would like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and honour the deep knowledge systems that have guided Indigenous people in harmony with all living beings for millennia. Lands have always been places of learning, teaching and profound connection to country and fostering a reciprocal human, more than human relationship, which I think nature journaling allows us to embody and to partake in.
Lisa already said all this.
Lisa has said all this, but actually my stepdaughter is in labour. So we are actually expecting a grandchild any minute. So we've had a little 2.5-year-old sleeping with us for the last 2 nights as her mum and dad expect a young child. But yeah, Cerae and I suppose we could just say very quickly that we met, how we met. So
yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Cerae?
Yep. Do you want to go?
You go for it, Cerae.
Oh, okay. So we, I don't know exactly how we met, but you put a call out through A squared, E squared, and it came through to my work. I was working at the Environment Centres with Brisbane City Council at the time, and you were asking for a nature journaling teacher, and I put up my hand. And so I've been working with Robyn at the University of Sunshine Coast, just casually teaching nature journaling, and also with one of your colleagues as well.
Yeah, so I suppose for me, I am more a facilitator of nature journaling experiences, as I dabble in nature journaling myself, and I am an emerging nature journaler, but I see the value with students and connecting them to nature journaling. It does help them to develop their ecological literacy, and it also helps them to develop their understanding of place and connection to country. And I allow nature journaling to incorporate many things. So it allows them to take a direction where they can find some connection to the environment in a way that matches them. And that output could be a poem, could be them playing guitar and using a QR code in their nature journaling to express that. If they're not a person that is a drawer, it could be writing. So to me, nature journaling is an open book, even though it's a bounded book. Now, as this experience is about nature journaling and mindfulness, we'd like to start by doing some mindful practices. So although we're all spread out across the country, we'd like you just to try to sit up in your chair. And we will put some soft music on in a minute, but we'd like you just to feel your feet on the ground and just relax your body, maybe do a few shoulder rolls. And if you need to, you can take a big stretch. And we're just going to take some deep breaths in. See if you can count for 3 breaths in and 3 breaths out. I'll just put some nice relaxing music on in the background.
Hopefully it won't be too loud.
So as we're listening to the music and doing our breaths, we're trying to set our intention for the next 50 minutes. of focusing on some time for ourselves and some time to connect with our bodies and the way we're feeling after today, or maybe our weekend, our school holidays with our children or grandkids, and yeah, trying to set some time aside to think about how we connect with nature, and also being gentle on ourselves, because nature journaling, often people can be critical, self-critical, comparing themselves to others and their artistic talents. So just reminding ourselves that we're all on a journey and different stages of journeying into nature. Journaling, just like the river is on a, or the water is on a journey down the river.
Thanks, Robyn. Are you able to turn it down a tiny bit?
Yes, I am.
Only because I was then going to, oh, does it cut out when I start talking?
No.
It does? Okay, we can just turn it off then. Because that would be disturbing. Yeah, cool. It would have been nicer, but I was going to add to that with just a little bit more of a tuning the senses practice. So in forest therapy, we do this thing called tuning the senses. It's similar to Dadiri, which a lot of you might have heard of from the Miriam Rose Foundation, the deep inner listening and quiet still awareness practice. It's similar to, but different. And I was just going to quickly go through an abridged version of that, just to really tune our senses down into being in the present moment. So if you were happy to close your eyes again, that would be great. I'll get you to open them again soon. And when your eyes are closed, we're actually going to tune into each of the senses. So firstly, we are going to tune into our sense of hearing. And I know you can hopefully hear the creek bubbling away in the background there and my voice, but you might also have the noises of your environment. I can hear a road, which isn't so great. So I'm going to tune in instead to the noises that I prefer, which is the sound of the creek. Next, tune into your sense of touch. And earlier, Robyn asked you to feel your feet on the ground. Also, feel the presence of your bottom on the chair and also your clothing on your skin. And if possible, the temperature on your skin as well. So for me, I haven't turned on any heating. It's getting cooler. I can feel a nice coolness on my skin. Not quite too cold yet. Now tune into your sense of smell. For me, I've been working from home today and I have a curry in the slow cooker. So I've got a delicious aroma of curry. I'm sure you've got different smells in your environments. Just try and tune into that now. And next we have taste. You might have the taste of something in your mouth from earlier today, or what I'm going to do is have a sip of my beverage. I've got a nice herbal tea here. So I'm going to tune into the taste of that. And feel that going down my throat. It's nice and warm. And then finally, we open our eyes and tune into our sense of sight. You might know that green is the easiest color for humans to see, and we have the ability to see more shades of green than any other color. So this theme is fantastic for that. We can tune into this and really see a lot of detail and appreciate the beauty of this spot. Okay. That That was a very short tuning the senses. Next slide. Okay, so a lot of you might know what nature journaling is. I'm not sure, but we weren't sure. Oh, so we've included a little definition here. That nature journaling is the practice of carefully observing and recording the natural world using words, drawings, numbers, and any other creative means as a way of responding to and deepening your experience of nature. There's a little photo there of a nature journal entry I'd been working on from last year. And we wanted to also mention that it's not a new thing that humans respond to nature. It's been a long time. So early humans used drawings and etchings to record observations about nature, their travels, hunting knowledge, etc., like rock art and pottery and even tattoos. And early naturalists kept journals to study and document the natural world. And the term nature journaling was first popularized in 1999 by Claire Walker Leslie and Charles E. Roth. They published a book called Nature Journaling, Learning to Observe and Connect with the World Around You. And since then, it's grown as a popular tool for science, art, mindfulness, education, you name it. It's quite big, I think. And it kind of grew in popularity during COVID in particular.
And I'd just like to add, I know Cerae did talk about rock art, but if we think about our Indigenous custodians, nature journaling in sand art, because I'm here from Southeast Queensland. So the Butchulla people, they didn't have rocks to do their artwork on, so they did a form of journaling and storytelling through sand artwork. And we know in other places in Australia we had rock art. So that is a form of journaling, and I'm sure we've appreciated when we've gone to places like Carnarvon Gorge or up into Kakadu, the beautiful artwork that we've experienced.
Oh, okay. So we wanted to get you creating, and some of you might have done this before. You know, I'm a high school art teacher, so this is a warm-up activity, and it was popularized in that book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And the idea is that when you draw something upside down, your brain doesn't take over. So normally you think bird and you start just drawing bird, and leaf or flower and you start drawing a leaf or a flower. But with this activity, you're kind of interrupting that takeover that your brain does. It's doing it to try and help you, but it's not necessarily the help you want. So open up your page and choose somewhere on this image here that you are most drawn to, and just start drawing what you see. And while you're drawing, Robyn and I will probably keep talking. We're only going to do this for about 5 minutes, the little warm-up activity, because in a little while, we'll actually do some more drawing. Robyn, there's a question in the chat. What country, please, is sand art practiced?
Oh, well, sand art is practiced in Australia on Gari with the Butchulla people. So I've been up with some students up to Gari, and we've partaken in the Dreamtime creation of Gari through sand art work.
Gari, yeah.
I'm sure it's practiced in other places, which other places that don't have rock as well. Are there any other questions in there?
No, not yet. So we were going to talk a little bit about our connection to nature while you're drawing. And so for me, when I was working at the environment centres, I met two fairly seminal, if that's the right word, nature journaling teachers, Paula Peters and Bethan Burton. They're quite established, and they do a lot of work in Southeast Queensland and abroad, really. And they came and did some workshops at the environment centres, and I realised from their workshop, I've been doing nature journaling my whole life. I just didn't know it was called that. And it kind of reinvigorated my interest in it. And I've always kept a nature journal, but I didn't call it that. I just called it an art journal. So for me, my connection moments are like these. Oh, it's hard to see when you've got the background on, but I have just so many books with nature connection moments. And every time I open a page, I can see a memory of that moment, and it brings me straight back there. It's really, it kind of brings back that feeling a little bit, which is wonderful. And also, I grew up in the country. I grew up in the bush in the 80s and 90s, and we didn't have a computer. We didn't have the internet. And my parents were hippies. I was only allowed to watch TV for half an hour a day, and it was only ABC. So I spent a lot of time outdoors. I also grew up on a cooperative, which is quite alternative. So I roamed around in the bush with other kids on the co-op and just spent heaps of time outdoors. So for me, it's like nature connection is so much part of my life. It's hard to kind of separate. But yeah, I'm rambling. Robyn?
Yes, okay. I didn't grow up in a co-op, but
It's kind of
I had
unusual.
parents that traveled a lot. So I think my nature journaling could say it's a travel journal of places I've been to, and I have had the opportunity to work in international schools for 16 years. So I have lots of books with lots of doodles in them. And when I wrote messages back, the old days when you had letters, and I remember sitting on Lamu off the coast of Kenya for a month writing Christmas cards and drawing the pictures on the Christmas cards. So more sort of cartoon style drawings and diagrams. And then since getting a job at the university, I got gifted the job of teaching nature journaling and connecting with all these wonderful people that Cerae has mentioned, Paula Peters, Bethan Burton, another lady up here called Dion Dior. And then they sort of opened up this field of bio blitzes where you go into an area for a very short period of time, maybe a weekend, and you record everything in that area, and you find people that specialize in scientists in spiders, in trees,
Fungi.
in fungi and different parts of the human and more than human world. And nature journal them all, because nature journaling is sort of the purest form of recording. You're not taking a photo, you're really concentrating on what you're seeing and recording what you're seeing in that moment in time.
Oh,
Do you want to wrap that up?
yes.
Their pictures
Sorry, everyone.
down of how you went drawing upside down. In fact, I did quite well, I thought.
Yeah, it's amazing. So when you interrupt that tendency for your brain to take over, you actually end up with pretty accurate depictions. There's other warming up activities as well, but I thought that one would be fun since we're on the computer. This is just two pages from two of my different journals, 2023 and 2024. And I've just included them here because I wanted to say there's lots of different approaches to nature journaling. They're really unique to each person. And I quite like plants, so a lot of my journals have plants in them. My job with council now is like it's in a regeneration kind of field, so knowing a lot of native plants is important to my role, but also important to me. So I tend to learn more about plants by doing nature journaling. Can we go on to the next slide, please? Cool. And with just one more thing before we start drawing is why do it? And here are just some of my thoughts. It's that nature journaling deepens your connection with nature and enriches your experience. So when you're spending half an hour sitting down somewhere outdoors, you are going to be more connected to that spot and you're going to have an enriched experience. You're going to see more than you would normally. So you're being connected to nature. It's a mindful, creative form of self-care. It's like a form of therapy, actually, like art therapy. It doesn't have to be about making a perfect picture. It can be writing. It doesn't have to be a picture at all. It can just be that you're writing and writing about your response to the spot. Or it could just be really expressive. It builds observation, inquiry, and species recognition skills. So what I say to the students at the uni is that you're drawing to learn, not learning to draw. But if you do want to learn to draw, you can. You don't have to focus on that, because a lot of people do get really hung up on that, like the names we've mentioned, Beth and Burton, Paula Peters, Dion Dior, they make absolutely stunning artworks. They're incredible. And that's what they share. It doesn't have to look like that. And yeah, it's really not about that. It doesn't have to be. It also fosters a growth mindset because you're learning new ways of seeing and recording things. And it's really like each journal is unique to your experience of nature. So I've got quite a pile of journals, and they've changed and evolved, and like it's different according to where I've been. And sometimes I stick in feathers, and sometimes I put in pictures or measure things or write a poem. It's really unusual. I mean, it's not unusual. It's really different. Okay. Did you have something you wanted to say, Robyn?
I think it's a really good way just to learn about an environment. And every rock you turn over, like if I go down to the beach, if I turn over a rock, there's something unique and different underneath that rock that I can draw and explore. And it's a really good way to connect other people to nature, grandkids, young people. And I think, there's probably many people in this discussion that work in early childhood, and, young people are just very curious. So if we can have that curiosity and that awe and wonder at a young age, we can really build upon and develop those people's ecological literacy.
Yeah, my kids love it. Oh, can you just go back for a second? I was going to say, the picture there, that's actually a lady that came on one of my forest therapy walks, and she drew that with a piece of burnt charcoal that she'd found from a tree stump, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, even on one of the trips with the uni students, we actually, as we walked around, we just smeared the soil.
Yeah,
And
nice.
it's amazing the different soil types that the students could then record and talk about. And then that got us into talking about the geology of the area, because we had different soil types.
Yeah, the imagination. Yeah, you can do whatever you want with it, really. Okay. All right, let's draw. So, and in the invite to this, you were asked to bring along something. It might have been a pot plant, or maybe it's your pet, or some leaves, or something nature related. And I'm hoping that that's within sight, and that you've got some kind of drawing implement. It could be a pencil or a pen or whatever you want. And then we're going to get you to just start sketching it in whatever way you want to, please. So looking at that object, this is the way I do it, is I actually start by just drawing in the air or drawing above the page, kind of the overall shape. And then I put pencil to paper. And then I just start sketching, and I let go of the idea that it has to look absolutely exactly like the thing. We're not trying to be botanical artists. We're just trying to respond to nature. And then once we've done a bit of the sketching, there's some other prompts we're going to talk more about.
And if you do have coloured pencils or anything you want to show things in, feel free to add.
Oh, I like this. I use wonky things like brown paper, or I'll use fat markers myself. Yes. Yeah, nice. That's a great
Some
idea.
some people even make their own nature journals, and they get paper and bind it together, and that's quite fun. And you know, you can make a flower press as well if you're collecting specimens along the way with cardboard.
I usually get everyone to start with their non-dominant hand. And often some people go, whoa, it's better than drawing with my dominant hand. Ugh.
And as you're drawing, we could maybe quickly, Cerae, just talk about like people often carry a little toolkit with them when they're nature journaling.
Yeah.
So I have a little pencil case with coloured pencils, which are watercoloured pencils. Some people have a little eye lens, so they can, like a magnifying glass, so you can look at things in lots of detail.
Here it is. A little jeweler's loop.
Or if you're working with like kindy kids, you might have a
Yeah,
big magnifying.
magnifying glass.
I know my granddaughter at one stage actually had some toilet paper binoculars, and we just got the toilet paper and we made them into little binoculars and some string, and she was very excited about looking at the birds. So, you know, you don't have to lash out and buy expensive equipment.
No,
And
not at all.
even the fact of making your own with if you're teaching in early learning centres or with young people, you know, they get excited about helping to create their own learning equipment. Some people have a little paint pellet, and they will use a paint pellet. So Ray is showing you hers.
Ooh. This one. It's all different types.
Some people have measuring tapes, you know, it can become quite extensive.
Or just a
Binoculars,
ruler.
yeah, binoculars.
I
At the
always,
university, we use quite a few guidebooks that we carry with us. So students can then, they might record something and have no idea what they're recording, which is often the case. And that's the same with me. And then later on, you'll try to, you know, you have to use very descriptive words. So then you can go back and try to match that with what it may be. Or perhaps with younger people, it doesn't really matter. And you may use apps. There's iNaturalist and other apps. Merlin is a really good one for bird recognition.
I always have a like an outline pen that oh, you can't see this, that is waterproof so that I can paint over it.
And having a little dry bag or something for your journal is, I think, really important, because I've had students do all this beautiful work and then their journal gets wet, and then unfortunately it becomes paper mache. And if you've got a dry bag, then you've got somewhere to store it, or even an art folder. So yeah, it stays dry. And I'd encourage you to also write your mobile phone number on your journal, because we had a student left their journal at Lake Mackenzie, and they did get it back. But if you just have a journal without your phone number on it and you lose it, you know, that's potentially lost. And after a while, your journal will become, you know,
precious.
as my granddaughter's unicorn, you know, doesn't want to.
Yeah, when we had Cyclone Alfred coming, I've been through went through Cyclone Yasi years and years ago, and I was on a yacht at the time, so I was pretty like a little bit PTSD. When we had Cyclone Alfred coming to Brisbane, and the thing I put in a box to store was my nature journals and photo albums, and that was it. So they're up there with the photo albums of the family. So whilst you're drawing, I mentioned before I think I mentioned before that there's prompts. So sometimes when you're doing a nature journal entry, it can be really daunting when you're faced with a blank page and you are outside, you're like, okay, I'm going to go nature journal, and you sit down and you've got a big blank page and you don't know where to start. And so there's a lot of prompts that have been developed, a lot of them from John Muir-Laws, who is probably one of the biggest nature journal advocates in the world. He created the Wild Wonder Foundation in America, and he hosts a huge conference. It's someone to look up. We've got a link at the end of this presentation. He developed this prompt here, and the last section was added by Paula Peters. But this is just one of many prompts, and it's called I Notice, I Wonder, It Reminds Me Of. So when you've got your drawing, or even before you start drawing, you can start writing these things. So I notice, and you can actually just be completely scientific or whatever. You could take it however you want, like looking at texture, shape, color, the behavior. You can get the measurements out, and you write that down. And then you go, I wonder. And that's when you go a little bit further, like, oh, why? So here's my object. I wonder how long will, oh gosh, how long will my wattle live for? I wonder how many bees have visited this. I wonder if the tree feels pain when I take this off. Like, you can go crazy, like how using your imagination. Then you can write, it reminds me of, and that's where you use your imagination even a little bit further, and you find connections between things you've seen or heard or experienced. So this reminds me of home. So I grew up north of Toowoomba, and this tree actually was a seedling that I took from mum and dad's place and put on my verge, and it's now a fully grown tree. But it can be something completely different, like, oh, it reminds me of I don't know what, my childhood, or an alien, or whatever, something obscure. And then I really love that Paula Peters added this one. It makes me feel, and that's where you can get into your emotions. Like, it makes me feel nostalgic to look at my nature object and smell it and draw it. So if you'd like to, you can write those down. You might not finish it, but you might want to write down those prompts. I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of, it makes me feel. And that's starting to make the nature journal more than just a collection of drawings. It's like you're getting it more personal. And in a minute, we're going to go even more personal.
I'm looking through all the pictures and I can see people in deep concentration. I like Julie McGuinness's chair she's sitting on.
Oh.
You look very comfortable there, Julie, and Marg's got her pen out.
I can't see. How do you see everyone?
Lisa, you're not even doing anything. You've got your hand over you.
I was.
I caught
I
you
was. I
out.
She's
promise. I
thinking.
promise.
She's trying to think about what her experience, her thing reminds her of.
Yeah. There's still some people trying to get in, so I'm just trying to help people get in that haven't been able to I don't know what's going on with Zoom. They're saying that. Anyways, hopefully it's okay.
Oh, well.
Okay. So
How many have we
I'm doing a time
got,
check.
Lisa?
Cerae and Robyn, it's yep, you're all good with it's 22.
Oh yeah, okay, let's do
the time goes by so fast, I know.
Okay.
I feel like we could
folks,
do
so
5-hour sessions, but
what we're going to do now is, I suppose, think of something in nature that we cherish, and that could be a tree, such as you can see in the picture here, the bunya pine. Could be a plant. It could actually be, something that's a water. Could be a body of water. It could be that cool breeze you feel in the morning. So it doesn't have to be something tangible that we can actually see or touch. And there is a person called Andre Magnusson, and he's Icelandic, and he's an Icelandic author. And in 2019, he wrote a eulogy for a glacier in Iceland, and it was the first official glacier in Iceland that was lost to climate change. So the eulogy is engraved in a plaque that he has placed at the site of the former glacier in 2019, and it serves as a monument for the loss of the glacier for future generations, as they won't be able to go and experience that glacier. So taking on Magnuson's sentiment and thinking about a place or a part of nature that means something to you or is significant to you, I would like you to spend a few minutes, can be on the same page or it could be on the next page. It could even be the thing that you've drawn, writing a short dialogue or creating an infographic regarding the loss of that species or the loss of that place. I know Lisa talked about in her opening how, climate change, and we are in unprecedented time. Yes. And I know for sure I'm involved in a group up here on the Sunshine Coast who are concerned about the bunya dieback. And this is a tree in the picture here that's got culturally significant meaning to three Indigenous tribes within the Sunshine Coast area, but also more widely because they used to host the Bunya Nut Festival and people used to walk for thousands of kilometres, and it's under threat by Phytophthora cinnamoniae, which is a fungal disease which is in the root system, and that was brought into Australia by exotic plants from Asia. So just have a bit of time thinking about something that you would be devastated to lose, and writing a little doodle or a little plaque or something in your journal or your page. Now, as you're doing this, I do encourage you just to sit with the grief that you might be feeling and to acknowledge that grief. And as we started off with our session, we sat and we did some mindful breathing. So sort of as you're writing, let the grief sort of flow through you and flow in and out with your breath. Now, we're very fortunate as humans that if the human species was unable to continue and it died out, that nature would actually have the opportunity to flourish again. And every morning there's a new sunrise. And we know during COVID we had decreased pollution. People in Kathmandu could actually see the Himalayan ranges. We didn't have as many people flying. So we had a reduced ecological footprint ourselves because we couldn't travel far. So the Earth system started to repair themselves. So think about maybe that sunrise this morning and how that was a moment of new hope, or that seed that you planted in the garden. And I love planting the seeds with the grandkids, and they love going and picking the strawberries or the tomatoes that grow in the garden. So, there's hope comes out of despair or grief. And as Cerae said before, you know, you can get nostalgic and think about those memories of childhood, and she can't go back and live that childhood again, but she's got those memories to draw from. And that is one of the beauties of the nature journal in itself. I had some students and we actually did this activity. And then we had Ola, who we had the beautiful slide from before as the acknowledgement. And she is doing her PhD on writing a children's eco-fiction book about walking the overland track and trying to connect young people with in the environment. And so she came in and did a workshop. So the students had written 1 week about something they really cared for, and then they lost, and then they had to incorporate that into a creative writing piece that turned sort of that loss into active hope. So I thought that was a nice way to frame that. So by scaffold things and on more positive notes with people.
So this is something else that we can do in our nature journal is, try and move through some of the grief that we might feel when things are changing outside of our control.
And I also like the students to use their nature journal to record ecological and issues within the local area, and then sort of get them to think about, I like my students to have an environmental hero. So in their nature journal, they actually write about someone. It could be their parents. It could be, you know, some people choose David Attenborough, other people choose Steve Irwin, and then other people choose local people. So I think that's a nice thing to add into their journal as well, people that are activists or local environmental heroes.
We've got one on the call, I just noticed. Someone a bit famous.
Is that you, Cerae?
No, not no, the garden gnome. He's does amazing things for a lot of people in terms of hope. Thank you. But anyway, with ecological grief and how nature journaling can help, here's some more ideas. Even just being outside, personally makes me feel better. So being in nature is so good for us. And some doctors are even giving out green prescriptions now. It's proven to be good for us. So when we're actually nature journaling, we're spending longer than we normally would if we're just always in a rush to get from A to B. If we're sitting or even just standing around in nature, it's good for us. So it can help us by being in nature journaling. It's slowing down. It's related to forest therapy as well. Also, something we haven't mentioned is there's a lot of nature journaling groups around the country, and they meet up regularly, and nature journaling with others and connecting with them is really good for us. And it's also a way, it's sort of a therapy. It's helping us process ideas and thoughts and experiences like we just did. And Robyn, you were going to reference the Floods and Me.
Yeah, so I know Lisa is involved in the Floods and Me project led by Southern Cross University, but that was a great initiative when we had a natural disaster to engage young people. I think it's been going for over 10 years now, and obviously we've had the Lismore floods recently, and I think they've got an ARC grant now to expand this project, but it's basically taking art and as a form of therapy to help young people, and in this case they were co-researchers, to use drama, to use a form of journaling, storytelling to express their emotions and sort of heal in many respects. Is that quite good, Lisa, that synopsis? Yes. And I would just like to, I suppose, just pay my respects to all those young people that actually passed away in Texas, that flood last week, I think we can all relate to that feeling of, times are changing and the grief that must be experienced there. And hopefully, Lisa and Amy Cutter McKenzie and David Russell's work can then, be a framework that can be transcribed over there, and they can take from that and help those people heal. But as Cerae said, it is a really good community of practice. And even nature journaling online, like when we had the cyclone earlier this year, I had to do my workshop, my field trip online with the students, and they found it really good. And I've had students also say, actually, I've learned a lot about my own back garden that I've never really explored when you gave me these prompts and you said, go out and sit in your garden and, just be. So I think that's a really good prompt as well.
All right, wrapping it up. So nature journaling can be a conduit to well-being. It is for me, and many others I know. It can be a tool for advocacy and environmental and planetary well-being, and it helps us focus on moments of awe, joy, and wonder. I was wondering, people have been putting in questions and I've been trying to answer them. Is there any others that someone wanted to say out loud? And also, did anyone want to share their drawings? You can if you want to. You can just hold it up. Oh, yay, Linda. I can only see 6 people. I'm not sure how to change the view.
You could put the picture, you could take a photo on your phone and put it in the chat.
Oh yeah, true.
If you unshare, if that's the last slide and you want to
there's one more. If we just quickly, we'll come back to this. Is that okay? We just included.
I just saw Joanne's. That was great. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we just included some of the links to the things we were referencing today. So ANJA, the Australian Nature Journaling Association, was founded by Julia, what's her surname? Lanford. Maybe was it last year or the year before? And it's now, there's a whole committee looking after it, and it's really great. There's a monthly newsletter, and they've got a collection of the nature journaling meetup groups, and also the Wild Wonder Foundation. It's an international foundation created by John Muir Laws, who I mentioned earlier, and it also is collating all of the nature journaling meetup groups. And then I've included Beth and Burton, who's fantastic in this local area, Paula Peters, Dion Dior. There's my little link if you're interested in following me. I'm Drop Into Nature, and so much more. And also,
there is, sorry, Beth and Burton also runs International Nature Journaling Week.
So and she runs the Brisbane meetup too.
Yeah, so each year she has different prompts, and if you go onto her website, you can actually access the prompts from the last 5 years, and that's a great resource.
And she does a podcast too with just different nature journalists from all around the world. It's really lovely. She's a wonderful person.
What we might do is, Cerae and Robyn, is send out those links.
Yeah, sure.
With the recording link. So we'll send, because we had, like I said, 88 people signed up, and we always know that, it's around dinner, evening, whatever. And people always want to see the recording. So we'll send the link to the recording out. And if you are happy to send us those links or those slides, then we can send those all out to everybody to have them. So you don't, Sonia was saying, what person did you miss?
I think maybe that was Beth and Burton who did the international.
Yeah.
Week.
So were there any more questions for?
Yeah, we've got 4 minutes.
For 4 minutes. Any more questions or anything? And now that the screen's not sharing, if you want to hold up your picture so we can see a little bit better, that would be great.
Oh, yay!
Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. Wow. Lovely. Helen's asking what to put in the toolkit, and you both listed a bunch of stuff. So maybe when you send us the links, you can send the list for the toolkit. Now, I know that personally, I am now saving all my toilet paper rolls, and there are going to be so many binoculars coming out of my house. It's going to be quite incredible. So I hope everybody's onto that one. I love that so much. But all the other, the dry bag and the permanent marker and all those things, maybe if you are
We'll
able.
just add a slide into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Also, I want to mention that Robyn will be joining us again. I don't know if Cerae will join us or not, but Robyn and Julia Lanford will be running a symposium on nature journaling at our conference, our national conference, which is happening through the month of August. And I'm trying to find the slide so I can just show you why can't I see where to share? If you have now the bug, it would be great if you came along. So Robyn et al. Are going to be sharing on Wednesday, the 20th of August. So with our conference, it's online because we wanted everybody from across the country to join us. It's going to be interactive like this one was. So thank you, Robyn and Cerae. This was really great. We love hands-on stuff in A squared, E squared. This certainly gave us so many tools and so many ideas and a kind of interesting drawing of a shell, but anyways, I won't share that. Although I'm super proud of it, it's nothing to be embarrassed of. I'm trying to and you can sign up with the conference for one day or all the days, and we would just love to have you. And so in August, we're not going to be having a learning circle like we normally have one every month, but we won't have one in August because we have 4 basically. We have one every week. We have a whole day of learning every week of August for the whole day. And also our mate Costa, who's here. Are you still here, Costa? He last conference, I don't know if you're able to turn your camera on, Costa, but at the end of our last national conference, which was in Wollongong, Costa got up and told everybody who came to the conference to bring one more person to the next conference. So we're making that our theme. So if everybody here brings one person to the conference, we have another 30 people or 40, 60 people at the conference. So that's the kind of, what do you call it? Request or challenge for us all. Can we all give our presenters a round of Zoom applause and appreciation? That was really a delightful way to spend an hour. And I'm going to turn the recording off. If people want to stay for a few minutes and just hang around and stay and say hello, that's good. There goes the recording.